Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Gary Butterfield Memorial Library, a YouTube series where I look at weird books I've found, a lot of which I've talked about on shows, and I show them to you, our patrons, and anybody else who happens to see them. That's fine. I bought for this project this little head-mounted thing to kind of try to turn my my iPhone into a GoPro, but it sucked and it was uncomfortable, and it's unusually hot in my apartment today, as you can tell by looking at this little shrimpulon. Regardless, a while back on Abject Suffering, I talked about 2 comics I found, and I wanted to show them off a little bit. Just to set expectations for the series, I'm going to flip through these books and just talk about what's weird about them. I'm not going to go into their history or anything like that unless I happen to know it. Basically, there's not going to be research involved. I also bought a huge lot of Dragon magazines I want to show off, just for looking at fucked up art. So, yeah. And this is vertical orientation for now, but I will turn it, because I don't know what TikTok is, for when I open the book. So this is Cross Swords number 1. Again, you can go back to the Abject Suffering episode to hear about it. But if you wanted to see it, this is what we got here. You can see kind of the information about this guy's little passion project. It has a lot of narration. The pages feel pretty bad. They're like coloring book pages, kind of. But at the same time, like the field of battle. It is badass as shit. It's basically my favorite thing. Look at these guys! I love finding professionally published things that are not drawn that much better than I used to be able to draw when I was a teenager. Like, I'm really out of practice with art, but I used to draw basically at this level. So, which, I mean, not super great. But yeah, there's a lot of weird placement of word bubbles. Orcs always did kick up a lot of dust, and then he this wizard dumpsters. This is one of my favorite panels. This is the kind of shit I would do when I did comics. Like, just get a lot of information in one panel across. It's worth noting this is the only issue of this that exists. Not this copy, but there isn't a later issue. There's just issue 1. Look at that cleric, like, pop. Just magnificent shit. There are like outlines and stuff, as I talked about on the episode, but like, what I want to try to do with some of this series is it's a good panel. What I want to do with some of the series is show off stuff that I think. So as you get older and the internet democratizes everything, I can get anything I want that I know exists. If there is like an old magic card I like I'm like, man, I sure could go for a Heirloom Minotaur right about now. Nothing is stopping me from getting a Heirloom Minotaur. I want to kind of show off some stuff, like what I kind of look for when I go thrifting or go to antique malls, which are things I didn't know existed, and therefore could not have known that I wanted. That's my favorite shit. Nice little pun there with the duel. And then they did bonus pinups. I love amateur works that do the things that professional works do. These bonus pinups of these guys. And then the thing that stuck out to me is this comes with a dungeon. This is Dungeons and Dragons compatible. There's no rights or anything going on here. They just decided to go for it. There is a very famous Dungeons and Dragons module called Against the Cult of the Reptile God. This seems like a play on that. But it's just a bunch of rooms and traps. Every room has like 2 or 3 skeletons in it. For no reason, like this would be monstrously boring to play because you just fight a lot of skeletons and do old D&D combat. Dun dun dun! Dun dun dun! But I admire the spirit of this more than I can say. And when I picked this up and looked through it, I saw this, the Unicorn Kings, and I was like, shit, Unicorn Kings. And then on the bookshelf as well was Unicorn Kings #1 by KZ Comics. This is, they talk about it here, this kind of mission statement. A person named Holly, who is a wife or daughter of this person, and talks about how it's like anime inspired. To me, you can kind of see it. Looks a little bit like the old manuals for like Phantasy Star games. A little bit also like the old Dungeons and Dragons cartoon to me. Unicorn King. So I read Cross Swords, and it's not good or anything. Unicorn Kings, mildly unreadable. It's really boring. Nothing really happens in it. I'm sure this looks very action-packed, but there are a lot of like, I don't know. It's pretty excruciating. But I do really, again, I admire the flavor and the spirit. Roar. So, and just adding this little filigree at the top and bottom of every page. Like, look how beautiful. I just, boy, oh boy. Anyone wants to take a screenshot of that for Twitter reaction images. Like, there's a lot of stuff with this little dog goblin going on. In terms of if this is something you could get, I don't know. I bought them in a record store in Portland in a dying mall. They were $5 a piece. Typically, you'll find throughout the series as I'll be showing off a lot of novelty purchases. My novelty purchase threshold is $10. So if I see something that I think is really amusing, sometimes I'll spend $10 for it. Yeah, and sometimes you end up getting things that I think are like fairly close to unique. Obviously not unique because we found that website, but closer to unique. Like uniqueness can be a spectrum. Like I know it literally cannot, but things can be effectively unique. You never get to find out what's happening in the dragon's egg. Plus Dragon Healer, Vern's greatest heroine, Vern. Yeah, and then this advertises Cross Swords. And that's it. This is very beautiful though. This back cover, the color looks really good. So yeah, that's the Cross Swords universe, and every episode of the Gary Butterfield Memorial Library will feature some fucked up book or something I found, or randomly Dragon magazines, and I'll show cool ads and shit. Primarily putting this out for patrons because I talk about this shit on the shows, but I don't want to deal with updating or like having a hidden playlist like I've tried to do with my Let's Plays. So I'm just going to upload it to the Duckfeed channel. If the public sees it, welcome. And this is the kind of crap we talk about on our shows. Thank you very much, and take care.